Hello everyone, I'm Annie from Drama Crochet. And let's go for this crochet tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make this cardigan in one block and with granny stitch. I upgraded the hexagon technique to make an octagon technique, thus there is less sewing, not at all even. And that gives that original aspect in the back. It really is not hard to make. This one is the first of a long series of granny stitch projects, so I invite you to subscribe not to miss my next posts, to share to your crocheter friends, and to like this video if you do. A French version of this video is available in the link in the description. You can also follow me on my other medias for more crochet contents. I use acrylic yarn that I don't really recommend. 300 grams of the main color and 200 grams of the secondary. It suggests 4mm, but I sized it up to 6mm for a lighter aspect. Let's begin with the slip knot. There are different ways to do it, but you can use mine if you don't have one yet. And chain 2. Single crochet in the first stitch, meaning the second one from the hook. Then chain 3. Then single crochet again in the second stitch from the hook. And again, chain 3 and single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. And I will repeat that until I get 28 single crochets. And this will be our foundation chain. We are going to put 3 corners in this first end. Begin with chain 3, that will count as the first double crochet. Then double crochet in the stitch of the single crochet. And another double crochet. And we have a granny stitch. Chain 1 and 3 double crochets in the same stitch to make another granny stitch. We have made our first corner. Chain 1, then granny stitch in the same stitch. Just a little notice, you will need more yarn if you're using a denser one like cotton, for example. We have made our second corner. Chain 1 again and granny stitch in the same stitch. I will explain it again just in case. A granny stitch is 3 double crochets in the same space or same stitch. Then we are going to make a granny stitch in the next single crochet. And then another granny stitch again on the next single crochet, and so on until the last one on the foundation chain. We are going to put 4 corners on this other end, so chain 1 and granny stitch in the same last stitch. And I have my first corner. Chain 1 again and granny stitch. And I have my second corner, chain 1, granny stitch. Third corner, chain 1 and granny stitch. And now I have my 4 corners. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I keep on doing the pattern, a granny stitch in each single crochet on the foundation chain at the opposite of the ones on the other side. At the end of the row, at the first end, we have 1, 2, 3 corners. We are going to add a granny stitch to make the 4th corner. But for this one, instead of a chain, we're going to make a single crochet on top of the first double crochet, meaning on top of the chain of 3. This way we end up in the middle of the space. This way we can directly continue with a chain of 3 as the first double crochet, then 2 double crochets to complete the first granny stitch of the 2 granny stitches that will form the first corner. We move on to the second corner with a granny stitch, chain 1, and a second granny stitch in the same space. And each corner will be made the same way as this one, meaning that in every corner space there will be a granny stitch, a chain 1, and a granny stitch. And we start again on the next corner space, granny stitch, chain 1, and granny stitch in the same space. And we're going to do the same in the next corner space. Here I have my 3 corners and half of the first. When we are not on a corner space, meaning with no chain, we just put a granny stitch in that space with no chain, nothing. And we keep doing that, 1 granny stitch in each space until we reach the next corner. I'm arriving at the next corner that I recognize because of the chain. You know what I'm going to say, granny stitch, chain 1, and a second granny stitch in the same space. I move on to the next corner with a granny stitch, chain 1, and granny stitch, and we do the same for all the 4 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1 granny stitch in each space until we reach the other side. To close the row, we do as before. We make the second granny stitch that constitute the first corner. And single crochet instead of a chain. But as I'm going to change the color, I'm not going to finish my single crochet. I'm going to cut the yarn at 1 or 2 centimeters. I cut it short not to have a tail to weave in at the end. I undo the last double crochet and I'm going to make a knot with my second color. Hold the yarns parallel and roll up your thumb and the yarns with the second color twice and a third tour between the tips of the yarn and the thumb. Pass the 2 tails through the loops and hold them with the left thumb, and last, pull the yarn. You are free if you want to use another technique. There, I'm going to complete my granny stitch with the last double crochet that I undid. And single crochet to close the row. We continue with chain 3 as the first double crochet, then the 2 double crochets in the same space to make half of the first corner always. granny stitch in the next space, which is a regular space, not a corner space, so I just put one granny stitch. The next space is a corner space. So, yes, granny stitch, chain 1, granny stitch. I think you fully understand how we do now. In each corner space we do granny stitch, chain 1, granny stitch, and in regular spaces just a granny stitch. And to close the row, as always, single crochet on top of the first double crochet. We begin to distinguish the shape of the cardigan when we fold it. Here a tiny sleeve. Same on the other side. I'm going to add another row of this color, and I'm going to switch back to the main color. Next space, regular space, so 1 granny stitch, and granny stitch in the next space. I have a corner space next, so granny stitch, chain 1, granny stitch to turn the corner. By the way, don't hesitate to ask questions in the comments, or if anything is not clear enough. I finish the row and I change color. As earlier, I don't finish the single crochet and I pull a little bit to make my knot. I show it once again. Wrap your thumb twice, third time between the thumb and the tips. Pass the tips in the 2 loops and hold them with your left thumb and pull the yarn. And crochet to finish the row. Single crochet on top of the first double crochet instead of the chain 1. And we keep on adding rows. I'm going to alternate between 4 white rows and 2 mallow rows to get 22 rows in total. I'm going to stop on the 21st row because I'm going to assemble on the row number 22. Here I have my 21 rows. I fold the 2 sides. For the 22nd row, the path will be this way. After the 3rd side, we're going to assemble here. Then continue on that side. And after the 5th here, we're going to assemble here. And we finish the tour regularly. That's it. Crochet on 3 sides. Here is the beginning of the row. I have the first side, second side, third side, and here we're going to assemble by folding the last side we just crocheted, because that is the opening of the first sleeve. Insert the hook into the corner space of the opposite side and slip stitch. Then continue the corner with 2 double crochets. For the 3rd double crochet of the granny stitch, insert the hook in the next opposite space before making the double crochet. Then make it as usual. We continue with a granny stitch on the next space. So we're making the first 2 double crochets. And again for the third one, insert the hook in the next space on the opposite side and make the third double crochet. And again, the first 2 double crochets in the next space. Then insert the hook into the next space and make the third double crochet of the granny stitch. And that's how we assemble. And we keep on doing that until we reach the corner here. So we're on the last granny stitch and I'm making my first 2 double crochet just as usual. Then insert the hook into the corner space of the opposite side and double crochet to finish my granny stitch. And we continue with regular granny stitches. We finished assembling the first sleeve. And as I said, we keep on regular granny stitches on that side and then this 5th side until we reach here. Here I just finished the 5th side and we're going to make the exact same thing as earlier. We are going to fold this 5th side to get the opening of the second sleeve. And just as before, insert the hook in the corner space of the opposite side and slip stitch instead of a chain. Then I make the 2 first double crochets of the second corner granny stitch. Then I insert the hook in the next space to make my 3rd double crochet. Then we move on to the next. Double crochet 2. Insert the hook on the next space to make the 3rd double crochet. And continue until we reach the next corner. Here we have the last granny stitch. So we go on chain 1 to turn the corner and second granny stitch in the corner space. The rest of the row will be regular until it's complete. The opening between the 2 front panels is about 5 granny stitches wide because 28 single crochets on the foundation chain minus 1 minus 22 rows equal 5. I will explain that calculation in details in another video. At the end of the row, chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the first double crochet and slip stitch again on the next 2 stitches to secure. I cut and leave a long tail. We are going to weave it in with a yarn needle. Pull tight. I used 3 plus 2 skeins of yarn in total. My yarn needle has a flexible butt. I don't know how it is called, but it's very practical. And to hide my tail, I like to whirl the needle into the stitches to have it more sturdy. Give a thumbs up if you like this video, to share it, to tag me if you want to share your projects on social medias, to comment in the comment section if you have questions, and I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you are a fan of granny stitches, stick around because a lot of big stuff are about to come. I can't wait to share all of it with you guys. A French version of this video is linked in the description. on my French channel. Add your own style to this cardigan. Use your own colors. You can change the size too by changing the length of the first foundation chain. But keep in mind that the number of rows you need to make for the 2 front panels to touch, the number of rows you need to make is the number of single crochets of the single crochet foundation chain minus 1. If you do more, the 2 front panels will overlap. For security, make 28 single crochets, like me. That's a good average size. Happy crochet!